This is 142.2, The Kingdom.
And once again, the Lombardi Trophy has a red and gold reflection. You can doubt the Chiefs. You can dislike the Chiefs. You can disrespect the Chiefs. You're gonna have to deal with the Kansas City Chiefs.
What's going on, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome to the next edition of 142.2 The Kingdom, coming to you live on X, on YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Richard. I'm hosting in for Dom today, and with me, I've got two of our friends of the show from over at Kingdom Kast. Our first is our co-host, formerly known as Bad Luck Chuck, otherwise known as Charles. And then second, you may know him from his new podcast, the Red Shirt Podcast, talking everything college football. We've got Trey with us. How's it going, gentlemen?
Great, man. Absolutely great. You know, besides the Chiefs, but hey.
Yeah. Also got Corey with us tonight, and we should have Trizzy coming in just a little bit later. But gentlemen, it wasn't our best day on Friday, unfortunately. That was quite the frustrating loss for me personally. Looking back on it, just before we kind of get into the nitty gritty of it, just kind of generally, how do y'all take that loss going into this upcoming week against the Eagles?
The thing is this, man. The thing I'm just disappointed about is that you just saw like a lot of the same stuff you saw from the Super Bowl. I mean, mainly in the first half. I mean, third quarter we kind of kicked it up a little bit, but that's the main thing I was just disappointed about watching that game on Friday, because you had all offseason, you had OTAs, you had training camp, mini camp, preseason. You had all that to get over being flat in the Super Bowl, and then you come out looking the same way. I mean, that's the main thing that was disappointing to me.
Yeah, it seemed like the communication was off, and I'll kind of talk about that a little bit later. But so Corey, how we doing tonight, and what were your thoughts overall about how things kind of went before we really got to dive down into it?
So for me, I think the Worthy injury kind of set the tone for the whole first half. It looked like it disrupted our whole rhythm. Just the guys' minds weren't there. There was no motivation. I like the way the offense battled back in the second half, though. The defense just kind of looked lethargic the whole game.
Yeah. I'm not entirely sure what was up with the overall game planning in terms of the offense. Kind of break down the snap counts here while I go hold up. But Trey, overall, what did you kind of see while we're getting down into things? How did you take Friday's loss overall?
I couldn't get immediately how I felt about it because, again, I was coaching a high school game to go to. But as I looked at it, I mean, number one, if you just look from a box score perspective, one of the guys that you don't want to sit over here and say, oh, my God, he absolutely murdered you, was Quentin Johnson. Like, how in the world is a guy that, you know, a lot of fans, they like to talk mess on him and whatnot. He showed up and he was one of their main difference makers, and he had 2 touchdowns. And, I mean, the thing about it is when you're sitting over here looking at it, as much as a lot of Chiefs fans did not like Justin Reed for his pass game, the one thing about it is kind of like what I heard from DG and other guys said, is that he knew how to command the backside of a defense. And when you're not sitting over here and you don't have him for that, and you have to depend on a younger guy in Jaden Hicks, and he couldn't deliver, or you don't have guys who weren't lined up correctly, you're really much so in a bad spot to where if you're not lined up well, you're more inclined to have a busted coverage. You're more inclined to having some miscues that end up having for a big play. I mean, it just looked like this team was not self-disciplined. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was the play calling. I don't know if it's the fact that it was the first game of the year and just emotions. I don't know what it was, but when you're sitting over here and you're looking at it, I mean, like, I didn't really see a lot from George Karlaftis, which, I mean, you just got paid, sir. So, I mean, I'm going to need you to show up a lot more frequently because that's been our main key point is like, yeah, he deserves the money. But if you're going to get paid this kind of league, if you're going to get paid as one of the best edge rushers in the league, you got to start showing up like one. Jalen Watson just got picked on. Like, no matter what, Justin Herbert was like, hey, I'm going to pick on you. He didn't really pick, he was a guy that they just continuously said, we're going to go to him, we're going to go to him, we're going to go to him. And Jalen Watson just was not looking well. I don't know if it's Spags. I don't know if it's the fact that they just came in there unprepared and they thought that the Chargers were going to lay down because they're so used to the Chiefs dominating the division. But you got to understand is that when John Harbaugh sits over there and says the Chiefs aren't going to be the best team in the division anymore, and a lot of these other coaches that they're getting new running backs, new quarterbacks, new stuff, you're going to have to show up and expect them to go 110%. I think that is like – I think that, again, I didn't really watch it a lot, but I watched that last bit. Chris Jones going inside, like, as an edge rusher, I get it. As a nose tackle, you can go inside all you want because that's where you're going to be lined up at. But when you know that there's a third down and you know you have a mobile quarterback like Justin Herbert as a quarterback, you're going to have to set outside contain. Like, I get it. You want to get pressure, but you have to settle on that outside, especially with guys who are sitting over here trying to double team. Like, Jalen was trying to double team alongside, I think it was Jalen Watson, or I think it was Jaden Hicks, or it was either Jaden or Brian Cook. One of these guys, they were sitting over here trying to double team a player, and you left one-on-one, and Chris went into the inside. So now you got an open lane towards the numbers, and he just went there. It was just like, I think that was just bad game planning. I think with Xavier Worthy going down, it just kind of took a lot out of the playbook. It just really, things just started taking a debacle.
Yeah, we literally had Quentin Johnson looking like Calvin Johnson.
Oh gosh.
I said this about Karlaftis before, and I'm going to say it again, and half the fan base is going to absolutely cook me for it. But half of Karlaftis' sacks are not his sacks. Half of Karlaftis' sacks are just like his one yesterday, where he gets absolutely stonewalled at the line. Chris Jones raises hell in the center of the D line. The QB scrambles and runs right into him, and he trips him up. He's just so inconsistent. He overruns a play. The next one, he can't get past the D lineman or loses contained to the outside. I'm not so much worried about the pressure. He's got to be more consistent. He's just all over the place.
Yeah, I think I'm going to start. I think I'm going to start with the bad before we get to the good. We'll get to the offense a little later because that also has some benefit. But I think we're going to start with the defense, and I have to start, quite frankly, with the snap counts. I was baffled by some of the usage and, quite frankly, non-usage of some players. Christian Fulton, I can understand. He hasn't had a full preseason. He still needs to probably ramp up. So that's probably why he wasn't used very much. But no Chris Roland Wallace, no Noel Williams, no Jeffrey Bassa, except all those guys only played on special teams. Very little of Ashton Gelati, only 9 snaps. And there really just wasn't any – there weren't many stunts. There weren't many games up front. The blitzes felt very telegraphed. This just felt like a very blah game plan from Spags, especially when I go back and look at the tape. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot of communication out there either. We're here in the fourth quarter, and I still see guys pointing at each other, running around at the snap, and then we got guys wide open all across the field. So that was extremely uncharacteristic of me for a Spags coach team and game one. Quite frankly, all across the board, I really didn't have a big highlight person on highlight except for Drew, because Drew did his job on when he was asked to blitz. But even then, that's about it. Everybody, unless they were blitzing, they weren't getting home. Even though the stats and the data that's been coming out says otherwise. So you can either believe what your eyes told you, or you can believe what the data says. But the eye test didn't look good. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm going to be the bringer of controversy this live space. It's Spags is starting to trend down with me. It's becoming a yearly thing that he's benching these rookies for these unathletic, couldn't run a 4.840 players that can't cover. Last year it was Hicks. Now it's Noah Williams. I was on the Brian Cook train after he got injured. I was like, okay, give him a chance to recover. Man, that dude's fried chicken. He can't cover. He can't tackle. He can't blitz. He can't read a defense. That man has got to get off the damn field. I don't care if we got to go to a 2-safety look and run an extra quarterback. But every time I hear that man's name, it is not because he made a play. It's because he got absolutely roasted by a tight end, a running back, a receiver. Spags has got to change with the times. It is no longer times of play veterans, let them get their snaps, and then rookies can rotate in. This isn't old school football. It's young, athletic. We're playing too many players that are too unathletic for their position. We've got probably the least athletic linebacker room, one of the least athletic safety rooms. I'd say even quarterback room, one of the least athletics. I mean, we're not exactly fast. We're not exactly big. We're not exactly physical. And, I mean, I think it starts from the top down. I think we should have hit some of this in free agency. I think all of us that looked at the roster knew that we had secondary issues, that we had an issue at safety, that we had an issue at coverage linebacker, that we had an issue at interior defensive linemen. And as much as I love Beach, every year he seems to think that he can draft all of those spots at the end of the rounds instead of addressing it in free agency. And it's kind of been the same thing for the last 2 or 3 years now. We're just getting so unathletic on the back end that it's starting to catch up and we're getting roasted.
Yeah, you mentioned Brian Cook, man. Like, yeah, it definitely didn't look good because I remember, I think it was the second quarter, and the Chargers, they ran like a little leak concept for Conklin, and I don't know what Brian Cook was thinking on that. He came up, and then all of a sudden it was too late. Like, Conklin was already leaking out towards the sideline, and he gets a big game. So guys are definitely having a rough time communicating on the back end. I know I saw a few people on Twitter today saying they missed Justin Reed. I said, okay, I mean, I kind of get it because he got people in the right position lined up, but it's not like Justin Reed wouldn't get up a lot of yards either. So, like, I mean, I understand bringing in a veteran, but, you know, you could have tried to bring somebody better than Justin Reed for that role. But at the same time, it'll have to be like somebody that's kind of familiar with what Spags wants to do. But overall, man, I mean, it was a pretty down game from Spags, man. I felt like we bailed him out in the wrong situations in the second half too, especially when it was third and long, man. Like, you see that we wasn't getting home with 4 the entire game. Like, every time we tried to rush 4, like McConkey or Keenan Allen would just find like a hole in the zone, or they just find a way to get open against man. And it was just easy work the entire night. So especially just been like, hell, we're going to send 5 or more regardless, like the rest of the way. We're going to live with the results. And he definitely should have did that when, you know, some people was blaming Chris Jones for his questionable decision at the end. So I feel like you could have just lived and died with the blitz right there. Like, if they cook us there, then it is what it is. They got us. So.
Yeah. And it's sad. I mean, it's really sad to see it because, I mean, like, we give this defense a lot of credit. We sit over here and we emphasize about how good of a defense this is. A lot of things, and I think a lot of us, we harp on it, not only just in the pros, but we talk about it even as a Pee-wee player. It's the little things. You got to take care of the little things, because if you don't take care of the little things end up having big moments. Not being lined up right, those are the little things that will end up causing a big game. Not being able to understand coverages and understanding situations, those are little things that end up having big issues. A lot of these things go into the reason why a lot. Like if you look at it, you're like, oh, okay, so they just got the better of them that day, especially with no Xavier Worthy. It just kind of looked different. But as I'm looking at it, it's just like, dude, like nothing that the Chargers did was absolutely spectacular. It really wasn't. It was something normal.
Yeah, and I keep saying we get too overhyped for these 6th and 7th round picks that show a couple flashes here and there.
Yeah.
And then you go into the season expecting the two cornerbacks battling for QB5 and QB6 last season to be QB2 and QB3.
Yeah.
My fault.
Yeah. No, you're good. I just think that is, and I definitely agree because I was a big Jeffrey Bassa fan. I thought that definitely, especially in Bassa in these type of situations, you want him on the 3rd and long where he has to get from sideline to sideline. Because that's one of the biggest things that he's good at when he was at Oregon. Because he was a former, and Drizzy will agree, he was a former safety that was turned into a linebacker that had good speed that you knew if you needed to, he could go down sideline to sideline and go track the quarterback. And being able to not have good speed against teams that do have speed, that's a bad mess up to happen. Because I know that definitely if Xavier Worthy would have had it, they wouldn't have had a guy who could match up speed for speed, but they knew somebody who could keep up and stay on the shoulder, stay on his back hip, and make some type of a play. It's like when you're having a crosser concept, and everybody knows that the one way to beat man-to-man coverage is you just hit everybody with crossing routes. You have somebody go out on a deep post. You have somebody go on a dig. You have mainly crossers. And that's really what they did, because I'll watch how they got the first down. They didn't do anything special. They moved Quentin Johnson towards the inside. He motioned towards the inside right behind the tackles, leaked out, and Justin Herbert rolled out to his right and just dumped it off to him. It was track speed. And sometimes, like, I know that we talk about, track speed doesn't always account for everything. Track speed at least keeps you somewhat in the game. Track speed at least keeps you somewhat in a position to make a play. And when you don't have that track speed and you don't put that track speed out there, I get it. You want to put the veterans out there and all that, but you got to let some of these young guys go. Because a lot of the things is you can deal with growing pains because they're a rookie. They're in their 2nd year. You can deal with that. But if you're missing out and a veteran doesn't make a play, and a rookie at least would have done the same thing, but at least he has some type of speed to keep up with him, that doesn't make you look good. It's a bad situation. Pat, like this, like I get it. The offense, when you go from having speedsters out there to not having speedsters out there anyway, it changes things. But on the defense, you have to keep your offense in the ball game. That's your job. Your job is to cause turnovers and to give your offense another opportunity. Yeah, and if you're not able to take that, it's over.
Yeah, there were 2 things that really stuck out to me from that game. And these stats are nasty, but Mike Dana, Charles Omenihu, and I hate that Derek Nottie gets brought into this because he's just there to be a run stuffer. So I don't really care about him. So I'm not worried about that. So I'm focused on Charles Omenihu and Mike Dana. They combined for most of the pass rushing snaps between the 3, and they got 0 pressures for a 0% win rate. Ashton Gelati on 4 pass rushing snaps at least got a pressure awarded to him on his 4 pass rushing snaps, and that just can't happen. I mean, it's George Karlaftis. I'm so glad PFF credited you with 7 pressures, but man, what do we do? What is everybody else doing with them? I understand Chris Jones is getting 2 people thrown at him 95% of snaps, but he usually beats those and still is able to create pressure. Where was he? What was he doing for most of that night? Like, it's just there wasn't a whole lot of communicating or people picking people up on the defense. And the other part of it for me was I hated the personnel usage in the secondary. What is Chamari Connor still doing in the slot, man? He was targeted 7 times as the primary defender, 7 catches for over 100 yards when he was the primary defender in coverage. Spags, you gotta fix that, man. Like you got Chris Roland Wallace sitting right there. I would much rather live and die by a guy who knows how to cover people and who is as experienced being a slot defender than a safety who is trying to play a role that he has never played before, not even in his college career. All of his
It's rinse
snaps
repeat,
are from
man.
a safety position. Just
Yeah. Like I said,
doesn't
I'm
work.
gonna be the bringer of controversy, and y'all will probably flame me for this one too. But I mean, anybody who's been in Kingdom Cast has talked to me for years knows I've been criticizing Beach like this for years. That I've been saying he keeps missing on all these early round draft picks. Eventually, we're going to run into depth issues at key positions. And look at where we're at right now. I mean, you look at the number of picks that we've spent going after left tackles, that we've wasted on busted defensive ends. I mean, I think we probably ranked top 5 in the league over the last 5-6 years on first through fourth round picks that are no longer on the roster or not starting.
It's definitely not good. I'll say that much.
What's up, fellas?
What's up,
What's
Trizzy?
up, Trizzy?
Not much.
Trizla. What up?
Yeah.
What's up, baby?
So Trizzy, yeah, we've kind of waxed our poetic about the defense. What have you got for us in terms of how you felt about the defense overall, be it personnel, how people played or whatnot?
Yeah. First and foremost, what's up, fellas, and what's up, viewers, families, cousins, aunties, uncles, fans. Appreciate y'all tapping in tonight. My camera a little blurry, can't see me. Hold on, but it's good to see y'all. Appreciate y'all tapping in always. Shout out to 142.2 The Kingdom. Shout out Charles. Shout out Kingdom Cash. Shout out to Kingdom Queens. Shout out to my guy Trey. College show got going on. Like shout out to everybody. And then obviously, that's not the way that you want to see your team go out there on the first game against a divisional opponent and kind of just look lost in all sorts of words you can really put up. But I will say that the Chargers had to play perfect. It came down to the wire, and that's what they did. They did make mistakes at the end of the game, and we made a few more than they did. Even though I didn't think we played complimentary football at all on the offensive side at all, on the defensive side at all. I think there were good moments on both sides of the ball, but I don't think we just had a complete drive where we put it all together. Maybe besides the end. Then we lost. You lose Xavier Worthy. Obviously, that sucks. And then that puts a lot of pressure on the defense too, because when you don't have a guy who can move the ball, you talk about time of possession. You talk about that offense having other opportunities, chances to give them momentum throughout the game, and that's what the Chargers did. They were able to move the ball, get off the field. I mean, keep drives going. Keep big plays, and not really big plays, but when the opportunities were there, they took advantage of it. We still left a lot of guys open. So I think just you heard Nick Bolton say that the game plan kind of surprised them, and maybe so. Not expecting much from that team, and I think we played like it. Like we didn't play like we were hungry. We played like we can beat these guys. Let's just get out here Friday night and put up a show. Like can't come into a game like that. Obviously, it sucks to lose Xavier Worthy on the first drive. He changes that game automatically with the way that they defend and the way that we call plays, similar to what Rasheed Rice affects us in zone coverage and stuff like that. So it'll be tough. But all in all, not a good performance. I don't care who you are. And I'll say this, like I had conversations, whatever, but um, I don't like what Chris Jones did at the end of the game. I thought it was selfish. I understand he's the big guy on the team. I understand he's making the money. I'm not one to criticize Chris Jones. I love Chris Jones, but you got to stay outside on that. Get a guys a chance, and maybe we can see what happens. But I mean, I'm sure he'll bounce back. He's getting double teamed a lot, so I can't really blame it on him at all. The secondary was horrible. Y'all already know how I feel about Jalen Watson. I want him off my starting lineup. I'm not gonna say off the team because I want the man to feed his family, but he doesn't know needs to be nowhere near my starting lineup. Put the rookie out there. The kid has all the build, everything that you're looking for in that position in Spags defense. I don't understand why we're not coaching this guy up and letting him get more reps, but maybe as the time goes on. I mean, I'm not Coach Merritt. Obviously he knows more than me. So, but to me, like Jalen Watson just he hasn't got back to himself that he was before the injury, and that's unfortunate for him. But as far as the defense goes, I think Noah Williams can be a key part. And you just, just not communicating well. Obviously, we got Jaden Hicks in the back, and that's where you miss guys like Reed at, where able to communicate, able to know what the defense is doing situationally. So, not having guys like that, being in a new team, fresh secondary, really only the player with experience that we trust back there is Trent McDuffie. So. We'll see what the Christian Fulton kid to do. It's going to be a work in progress. It's not going to be perfect overnight. Those guys are going to have to work towards that. I think this kind of reminds me a little bit of when we just first had got Trent McDuffie and we were figuring out how to use him and where to put him at effectively. I think it's going to be the same picture with this defense. They got some good players, they got good pieces, but we got to figure out how to make the format work. So until we can do that, we'll struggle a little bit, but I think we'll have a better performance. It's been on tape, and I think they'll be more prepared. But there will be bumps and bruises along the way.
Yeah.
I really want to know.
I would much rather somebody get beat because it's a rookie mistake and growing pains than somebody get beat because they just physically can't do their job.
I really want to know. I really want to know what was Jalen Watson doing the entire offseason. That's what I want to know because I saw the same guy that was getting cooked in that Super Bowl, man. I don't know what's going on. Like, did he get fat and happy? Like, is he content? Is he comfortable now? Like, because I don't know.
I wouldn't be personally because he's in a contract year. They're all in contract years except for Trent, really. But Trent's ongoing. But that touching back on Chris Jones, I don't blame him. I think his instincts just took over in a one-on-one situation. I don't necessarily blame him for what he tried to do. He tried to go make a play and it didn't work out. And I don't blame why am I suddenly like I don't blame Drew. I don't blame Drew for kind of getting after him a little bit after the game.
Absolutely not.
That's a leadership thing. That lets me know that leaders are still in the building. Yeah. That lets me know that leaders are still in the building. The leaders are leading. There's accountability for everybody. Like that part's cool. And I'm not gonna fully blame Chris if his instincts took over. He just tried to make a play because he owned that. He's like, yeah, that's on me. I tried to make a play and it didn't, and we got burned. So, that part of it's fine. I just hope that on the defensive side of the ball, we get some more communication because that was the biggest thing for me was that a Spags coach defense didn't look like they understood what was happening in front of them enough.
I'm gonna say, that is not just on Chris Jones. You got to know that a team is going to look at that option in that situation. We had absolutely no spy on him whatsoever. That Buffalo game in the playoff, Josh Allen tried running that same play. We had a linebacker and a safety sitting right there on it. That is also Spags getting out coached. Yeah,
that is like for the entire defense. That's from the top down. They got to own that one because they got out coached. They got surprised by what they thought was going to be a running team passing the ball 30 plus times. That's pretty much what it comes down to. They weren't prepared.
At some point, Spags has got to step up and say, this is my defense. Chris, get your big ass back on the inside. You don't put a 340-pound defensive lineman on the end on a zero pressure and expect him to even if he does keep contained, expect him to be able to beat Justin Herbert to the sideline. Even if he's in position, I don't think he beats him to that sideline. He's 340 pounds.
Right. He's like, I mentioned earlier, like the only time he was really effective was when we was running them double B gap blitzes. That's the only time the defense was like at its most effective.
He drew two people. Drew got 2 sacks off it. I mean, that's they shifted their pressure to him, and that's on Spags to adjust. Like I think, and that's again harping back on my what's the personnel usage here? Like we're not utilizing people where we know that they're most effective. Yeah, I'd love it if Chris Jones got 2+ sacks every game, but if he's drawing 2-3 defenders, somebody else gotta go make a play. Somebody else has to go win their one-on-ones. And if you, again, whether you want to believe the stats or believe your eyes, George Karlaftis apparently was the only one doing that on a semi-consistent basis, and even he wasn't getting home. So I think it just comes down to the defense has to execute and the personnel needs to be used in positions where they can succeed. If that means you have to play more rookies, that means you need to go get them in the game and get them snaps and see what they can do, which is something I hope that they fix for next week.
And
Now, on the offensive side of the ball, I have more concerns with the process of how they coached that game. Now, getting us out of the way now, I understand Xavier Worthy was lost on the third play of the game. That does change some things for the short term in terms of how you're going to call that game. But my problem is, why are we calling the game like we're 3 scores down the entire time? That's what it felt like to me. It felt like they got down 10 points, which didn't even happen until the beginning of the second quarter, and they panicked. It felt like we were calling deep shot after going 4 wide, 5-step drops from shotgun, like we were down 17 or 20, like we were the Dolphins playing the Colts on Sunday. Like I just didn't understand.
Or the Super Bowl.
Yeah, or in the Super Bowl. I just didn't understand the process behind having only 10 combined carries and only 16 combined opportunities for running backs in 4 quarters. I understand that we do not have the most dynamic running back room in the league. In fact, if I honestly had to rate it, it's probably still a bottom 10 group in the league collectively. But that doesn't mean you don't utilize them at all. Even bad teams run the football, because a fundamental rule of offense is you try to keep the defense honest. You have to make them believe that you're going to be able to run the football on them.
Yeah.
And when they're dropping 7, 8 in coverage on almost every snap, and our most successful runs are because our quarterback is running for his life because nobody's open, because everybody has at least 2 guys on them because they're dropping 8 into coverage. Where's the adjustments? Where is the usage? Robert Tonyan, 5 snaps. Rashard Smith, 9 to 11 snaps, 0 opportunities the entire game. Noah Gray, 25% snaps, 1 target, 1 catch for 3 yards.
Here's the problem. We keep trying to run these damn screen passes with Pacheco, but that man does not know how to catch the ball on the run. I watched 3 screen passes in a row. He stopped and turned his back to Mahomes instead of waiting for Mahomes to throw it in stride. And it looked like it threw Mahomes off because he kind of like hesitated and then tried to float it over the defender or sidearm it around him. Man, he's got to keep running to that damn sideline so that way he creates space between him and the defensive end. Like, why do we have him running those routes if he doesn't know how to freaking run them? Put Rashad Smith out there, who's a receiver that knows how to run those routes.
Yeah,
that goes back to my personnel issue. Like, why are we not using the personnel that we have?
Yeah,
like I said, I'm gonna be all controversy today.
Nah, I agree, because it's like, you can't go doubles each side and think that, okay, maybe they'll think that we're running the ball. Like, until you see them stack up in the box, you run that ball until they start doing that, until their safeties start to creep up. Because I get it, again, Xavier Worthy being out is crazy. And I'm not going to sit over here and say that these two are in any type of the same level. But if you really want to keep a speedster out there, you got Tyquan Thornton who runs on 4.26 or 4.28 or something like that. He's a very fast. He's a fast runner, and he's made his way a little bit. But when you're sitting over here looking at it, and I mean, I'm not going to sit over here and say like my bet. When you're going into this type of situation, we saw that when the Chiefs lost Rashee Rice, and we were still trying to work into it, we went into more of a jumbo package. We went into 12 personnel. We got 2 tight ends. We had Trav and we had Noah. And we've seen that Noah has been able to step up, especially in 12 personnel. And we've really had to make them go from a dime defense to more of a nickel defense. And the situation about it is when you're sitting over here and you let a team make you become one-dimensional, you're not set in to be successful at all. you have to continuously have to hand the ball off to Isaiah Pacheco. You're gonna have to continuously hand the ball off to Elijah Mitchell or Kareem Hunt or Brashard Smith, whoever the case may be. You're gonna have to take that opportunity and say, look, even if we get 2 yards of carry, I'm ready for 2 yards of carry instead of 0 yards of play. That's just how it is. Like, you got to take your wins, even if they're the smallest of wins, and say we're okay with it because at least we know that these small little jabs, these small little jabs could be the setup for an absolute uppercut. I don't like this type of thing.
And I will
Yeah,
say though, the deep ball did kind of do its job in the first half. Even if Mahomes overthrew it a couple times, because it did open up that Kelsey route on that little mid crosser that he took to the house for a touchdown. Now we should have ran something off of that too. After one of those Thornton deep balls, run that Rashad Smith fucking wheel route around the edge. Ain't no linebacker keeping up with a 4-3 running back. And when we're running those clear out routes and they're putting 4 cornerbacks deep, that whole middle was open all game like that Kelsey route. We should have hit him something with like a wheel route from Rashad Smith, but yet 0 impactful snaps for him. It's like we don't use the young guys, even though they're probably the most impactful people we have on this old, aging, slowing down team.
yeah, it's the frustrating part.
We're
It's the
actually
frustrating part about personnel.
we're actually one of the so we're actually one of the youngest teams in the NFL. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
We've got the
that's
youngest
actually a funny
bench
part
because
is
they
we
all
are
sit on the
actually kind
bench.
of younger
The
when it comes
youngest
to
snaps,
that.
though.
Go ahead, Chuck.
But yeah, it's the frustrating part about the use of the personnel because for the past 2 seasons, we don't run RPOs like we used to. We don't run 12, 13 personnel like we used to. And they knew that the Chargers gonna come with that light box again. Dog. And I mentioned it on Kingdom Cast, like they're gonna come with that light box again. Let's see if they're gonna have better success running against the light box. And the Chiefs didn't even try for real till like the second quarter, and that's when we finally established a long drive. Unfortunately, ended in a field goal, but
They lost
that's just
Denzel Perryman in the middle of the game too.
Yeah,
yeah.
well,
They ain't try to
I
exploit
mean,
that.
not in the weekend, like as far as like from bird's eye view, obviously we're not on the field. We not seeing what they seeing. They have a different way of conceptualizing things. But the Tart kid was just he was unblockable. Like nobody was blocking him. I don't know what the hell was going on that night, but we couldn't get a hat on him. So when you can't get a
Like,
hat on
dang,
guys,
hold his arms or hands or something.
it's
Dang.
it's hard for you to do anything when you're getting pressure from the interior. If you're getting pressure from the outside, there's ways to control that. But when a guy's like having a game like that, like he was, there's really nothing that you can do about it. You can call whatever you want to call. If you can't get in front of him and make it difficult for him to cause havoc, then there's nothing going to be going on. So I just think we got to be better with protection up front. It starts in the trenches. It always starts in the trenches. It starts in the trenches no matter what, no matter if we playing well, no matter if we playing great. Those guys got to be better up front, no doubt about it. Obviously, that on both sides of the ball, not just offense, on defense as well. Guys got to win their one on ones when they're getting opportunities with Chris Jones getting double teamed. We got to understand where that's coming from. We got to know how to attack. And then obviously on the offensive side of the ball, when a guy's having a game and terrorizing our line of scrimmage like that, we got to have guys or Andy Reid and himself, have a timeout or have a something, as a play call ready for that. Maybe you start running a little zone. Maybe you put a little read option in there just to throw them off. I don't know, but just no matter what you call in those type of situations, if a guy's having a game like that, obviously I don't think they was expecting something like that to happen from the interior. Obviously, because that's where our better players are, outside of Kingsley, who I think is developing into that spot. So it's going to be a little difficult. It's going to be tough sledding with him, and he didn't have the best game, but he did all right for his first time there. And this stuff is it's positive stuff to build on. Like we could have walked out of that stadium, if we would have came to play like I thought we could play. I thought we could have, made it interesting at the end, but I thought we were a better team. They outplayed us that time, and they had a great game plan. So you got to tip your heart to the Chargers. That's the first time I really seen those guys execute at a high level with the stakes on the line, quote unquote, with being a team who always finds a way to lose those type of games. So they found a way to win the game. Got to tip their hat off to them, and they had a player that was controlling the line of scrimmage. So when you're able to do that on both sides of the ball, and you're having to send blitzes and you're having to disguise things, it's kind of hard for you to get into a consistent, kind of consistent call, kind of consistent level-headed play calling and level-headed situational football if you don't know what situation you're in because these things are not being able to be controlled. So ultimately, I thought that was the issue. Just looking at some of the highlights and looking at some of the things, I didn't get to watch the full game because I had to coach that night. But I'll be in full effect on Sunday, and I can't wait. I'm very excited about Sunday.
I'll see you in 3 weeks, my boy. 4 weeks. You better have your stuff lined up.
So I've got kind of a question for all of y'all. You keep seeing all these rumors about Tyreek and this and that. So this is kind of hypothetical because I go a different direction. If you could bring back one player, who would you bring back, Tyreek or L'Jarius Sneed?
L'Jarius Sneed with a heart without even a question.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Are we saying both are healthy?
The offense would be fine, but this offense is not built to put up 40 points a game because our secondary couldn't fight their way out of a wet paper bag.
Are we showing both are healthy? Are we assuming that?
Yeah, we can do that.
Because L'Jarius Sneed was getting cooked by Denver's receivers. I'm sorry to say, even with Bo Nix not playing
I don't know about getting cooked. Like they did not look good on Sunday, bro. I don't know what you was watching.
He was getting targeted early and often in that game, and it was not pretty. He may have settled in later, but
it's not pretty. Bo Nix had like 150 yards.
Hey, I mean, I didn't really see it because again, I was sitting over there. I was busy watching other games.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But if you're talking about right now, I mean, to me, I would take the third option would be Willie Gay because I've been advocating that we probably should have brought back Willie to begin with because I think that was the number one thing that we were missing is we needed a linebacker with speed. Like, of course, we know Nick's got speed, but Nick is not a pass pro type of linebacker. He can get from sideline to sideline, but Willie got a lot more speed to him. And I mean, like you don't want to put too much on Nick. You don't want to put too much on Drew, where he has to not only command the defense, but not only just take care of what's in front of him, but now you got to have him make sure that everything behind him is okay too. Like that's a setup for bad business.
Yeah, with the current team we got, I'll bring Joe Tooney back to that offensive line in a fucking heartbeat. Put him with that rookie, Joe Tooney, Creed, Trey, and Juwan. Sorry, Kingsley. It'll go in that order. It'll go Tooney, Sneed, Hill.
Okay, so I don't know why everybody's so on the Tyreek Hill hype train. Anybody that has eyes, Hill has slowed down. I think he had one pass or one reception over 20 yards last season. That's it.
Yeah,
he hasn't officially. It's been a year since he's had his last reception over 20 yards. Yeah. Exactly 1 year.
I think that 30 yards. That has a lot to do with the
it might be
with the offense he's in too as well.
Yeah. That team's a disaster.
So. What's up, Chuck? What's up?
Yeah, but since Richard gave us just two options, then L'Jarius Sneed easily because like the guys in the secondary they need help, communicating and knowing where they're supposed to be, and also you can get Shamari Connor out of that slot because Richard mentioned earlier in the show, like because I don't understand it either. I'm with Richard on that. I don't understand why Spaz keeps experimenting with Shamari Connor in the slot when it's clearly an issue. It's clearly not working. Like just give it up.
No matter what, Jalen Watson still is the outside corner. Like we getting cooked either way.
If Christian Fulton's healthy, he's CB2 and Watson's not playing.
Right, that's what I'm about to say.
Personally speaking, if everybody was healthy and I were doing this, it's Trent, Christian Fulton, and my third corner is either Noel Williams or
get Christian Wallace out there, man.
I'm letting Chris Wallace start the game, but as soon as there's trouble, I'm putting Noel Williams in the game.
We
and
got
Jalen Watson is just rotating.
We got to remember
That's how I would do it personally.
If I remember right, both of the two, Watson and Williams, one was like a 7th round pick, and the other was a UD or undrafted free agent.
Yeah, I know.
Chris Wallace is undrafted. Watson is 7th, and Noah Williams is the 3rd, and Joshua Williams is the 4th.
Joshua Williams.
He was a 4th round pick.
Yeah, Josh was like middle.
I thought he was a 5th or 6th.
No, he was a 4th round pick. He was their 4th round pick that year.
Yeah.
And my whole problem with Joshua Williams is he plays like the smallest tall corner I think I've ever seen in my life.
No,
that man is 6'3" and plays like he is Charvarius Ward.
Size. No, he runs like a baby giraffe. If that man has to cut or make a turn, he trips over his own feet. He runs like a baby giraffe.
And then like the undisciplined stuff with Josh Williams on special teams too, man. I'm like, we gotta go through this again, dog.
Yeah, you can't play
bro. Like Tyquan Thornton had a big return to start the game. We could have carried that momentum and really got it rocking to begin the game, but that return just killed it. And then on top of Xavier Worthy getting hurt with friendly fire, so
this is the same exact thing that we've been sitting over there and complaining about last year. The issues have been is that we can't do anything right without getting penalized. Like if we have a big thing happen, like we've had big plays happen, but it's gotten negated because of the fact that we're doing false starts. We're getting holdings. We're getting like illegal formations. We're doing the little things wrong. We're not taking care. We're not all lined up the correct way. And the issue about it is that we sit over there when we start up something and we get things going, it seems like we're content and that we can show that we're flashes of the old team, the old offense that we used to be. But then we negate it by somebody getting their assignment wrong. Somebody not disengaging after the running back or whoever it is who has the ball gets past them. We don't know. It's like some of our players don't know exactly where they are on the field, and that's an issue.
Yeah,
you have to know where you're at.
Yeah,
communication and readiness. Yeah, it's communication and readiness, and that was the theme of the day for that game. So that's the biggest thing I'm hoping is fixed moving forward to the Eagles. Now, the offensive line, I thought by and large was better than I was expecting.
Yeah.
I felt they gave Pat a lot of times. He almost felt like he had too much time in the pocket and didn't know what to do with it. And that kind of hurt a couple of plays, but the deep shots being back was nice, even if they didn't always hit. Just gotta fix up the play calling. Just be a little bit more balanced heading into this game with the Eagles.
Here's my issue. It's like I knew exactly what it was going to be. Even with Xavier Worthy out there, I'm like, okay, there's no Royals, there's no Rasheed. We're going to be heavily depending on Xavier Worthy, Juju Smith-Schuster, Travis Kelce, and Noah Gray. That's what I was fully expecting. We're going to get occasional overrun. I was like, if we get 15 to 16 carries, like, of course, we're going to want more, but as long as the passing game gets going, cool. As long as Noah Gray is going to get his target, is he going to make a difference? Because every time he does hit the field, he does make somewhat of a difference in the passing game, and you're giving Pat another reliable target, that's great. But when you're sitting over here looking at it and you're like, okay, so Juju did his job. He got he got receptions. He had about 55 yards. Trav did what he was supposed to do. He's showing a little bit of himself, of his old self. Cool. But to sit over there and you don't really have that much of a rushing game. You don't really use Noah Gray to the effect of what you need him to do, which, by the way, you just signed him to a 3-year deal, not even a full year ago. Like, you're sitting over here looking at it, and you're like, why haven't we used these guys that we invested a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of draft capital in, just to us to not be able to use them when we really needed them the most?
I'll also say anybody that went to camp should say they should have saw this coming. The last few years during camp, I've never seen Mahomes throw as many deep balls and connect on as many deep balls. as he had this year at camp. And we kept making excuses. Oh, the cornerbacks can't put hands on him right now. They can't guard the way they will in games. And, I said all through camp, if this is the way the secondary is going to play, we're going to have a lot of trouble with really athletic teams. The problem is the Chargers are not a very athletic team, and we made them look very athletic.
Yeah, this is the thing with what you said earlier, Richard, about Patrick. I guess not not getting used to having that much time in the pocket. I think it's just, and it goes back to what I said earlier. I think it's a product of what we've been seeing the last 2 years, as far as him having time to at least throw the deep shot. I mean, that's just something that Patrick hasn't been used to. He's not used to having that much time. Like, it's been a long time, So that's just something he's just gonna have to get used to for like the first few weeks, and then I think he'll settle in even more. But at the same token, man, golly, this is why receiving core gotta stay healthy at some point, man. At some point, my goodness.
Well, we did get good news on that front. Andy Reid in his press conference today did say that surgery's not looking like it's going to be likely, and no short-term IR. So he's going to be rehabbing it, and he's essentially, I'm going to call it week to week. He didn't necessarily say day to day, but they're taking it day by day. So I'm going to consider that good news, considering I fully expected it was probably going to be a labrum injury, and he was going to be out for the season. So no surgery, and it looks like he may be back potentially in a couple of weeks if they want to be super conservative with it. That's good news. Apparently, Jalen Royals is progressing, even though he didn't practice today. They say he's maybe a bit of a stretch if he plays this week, but him being back by next week as well is also good for this receiving core. So going into this Eagles game and understanding everything that we know about what happened on Friday, if you had to pick one player on offense and on defense that you need to see either used more or who needs to step up to be an X factor for this team, who would you have? And I'll start with Chuck. Where would you put for those players?
I mean, I'm starting the defense. Can we use Leo Chanel more? Like, I feel like we're not using his athleticism enough in his defense. I feel like he's being underutilized. He's kind of looking like a statue in this scheme, man. Like, the way that we're not getting pressure at four right now. Like, hell, you just put him on the line at times, and try to create a 5-man pass rush.
At least a couple times, at least. But yeah.
They got to do it a little more. I mean, especially for this game. But
only 23
offense,
snaps is also crazy. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So, but for offense, man, oh gosh. I mean, there's got to be a way to exploit that Dory Jackson matchup, and it's got to be Tyquan Thornton. I mean, we may need a little more from Tyquan in this one. But honestly, man, I'd rather our running backs get used a little more in this one. That's where I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with the running backs.
Yeah, I'll go. For me, it'll be Rashad Smith. If you remember the difference between the last two Super Bowls ago, McKinnon absolutely torched the Eagles, especially in the red zone. And the second game, we had absolutely no passing game in the running back game whatsoever. And to me, that was a big key to why we weren't moving the ball like we were 2 years ago. On defense, got to be Bassa. We cannot roll those same linebackers out there and Brian Cook at safety. If you saw what Conklin did to us, imagine what the Eagles tight ends are going to do to us if we don't put some more athleticism out there at linebacker.
For me, it has to be Kingsley. He has to do a better job of being able to control his area. The trenches start. I don't care who is out there. We can have anybody out there. Julio Jones, Barry Sand. It don't matter if we can't get a hat on a guy. It don't matter. Kingsley got to be better. I ain't had no problem with Josh Simmons. He gave up a few pressures. He's a rookie. Tough divisional opponent playing against a underrated pass rushing team. I'm not mad at 4 pressures from him. Uh, and Jawan Taylor obviously got to fix those mistakes. I think he does a good job when he does a good job, but when he doesn't, it looks bad. So I would either go him or I would either go Kingsley or Jawan. And then obviously I agree with the Brashad. Y'all know I'm a big Brashad Smith guy. I can't tell you. His tape at SMU is insane, dog. There's no way that doesn't translate in our offense. We need to find a way to get guys who are good with the ball in their hands to get them the ball. I don't know what's so hard about that. So I would go Brashad Smith. Travis Kelsey, since he hurt, is every word that he got some making up to do. I need a 100-yard game. I need a 100-yard game, Kelsey. If he get a 100-yard game, we're doing what we're supposed to do on offense. We're doing Kingsley's doing his job, Taylor's doing his job. We're getting to spaces, we're getting to areas. They're still not gonna play a lot of man to man, and if they do, I like the RPO with Hollywood being out there. He can be used in those situations. I'm not just pinpointing one guy. If one guy not gonna do the damn job, we need I ain't gonna say a master class from Pat Mahomes, but we need to leave no doubt about who the best player in the league is right now. And I think this is a perfect opportunity for Patrick Mahomes and Cole to do that. But he got to bring the guys. The guys got to come with him. It can't just be Pat. It can't just be Chris. It can't just be this guy. It can't be, what I mean? Like, but if I had to highlight guys, those are guys I would go with. Obviously, I still think we got a great chance to move the ball and be effective against the Eagles defense. I know they get Carter back this week, but they just didn't look too sharp anywhere else. I don't remember the Cowboys really having much trouble at all, and I don't know if Jalen Carter is that much of a force to where he feels that different. And Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey should be licking their chops, getting the opportunity, to prove their worth again against a guy like that. So I'm looking at the trenches first. I think Bashar Smith needs to be used more, obviously. And I think, Juju, maybe in the passing game, can come alive for us. Defensively, I mean, nobody on the defense really had a game where it's like, okay, yeah, like played well. Like the whole defense need to, if we play like that, we're not gonna win the game. So I think the defense need to be better. I think Spaz need to put them in better situations. Can't be calling zero blitz on the left hash and asking Jaden Hicks to run across the field and do that. That's how Quentin Johnson got that score. Like you ask him to come all the way from another hash to make that play. It's insane. Like we just got to be better fundamentally, situationally, and we got to let some of the younger guys play. And I like Brashad Smith. I like what he can potentially bring to the offense. He can make some of those 5-10 yard plays go 30, 15, 20, 25 here. He can break some to the house. We just got to give him an opportunity. So just continue to give guys opportunities. Noah Gray definitely got to be used more. He's way better in our offense. I don't understand that 25% stuff, but I'm sure he'll play more. So getting that guy the ball, just spreading the ball around, making them guess, and continuing to get them out of that box so we can mix it up a little bit. But I think we'll be better this game. I'm not saying everything will be perfect. It's only week 2. You know what I mean? But I would love for us to kind of leave no doubt about who we are as a football team. And I think this team has grown, but when you go through certain things like we went through, it's kind of hard to show it. So I just hope these guys give themselves an opportunity to win it, or if not, then dominate. Whatever that looks like for us. I don't want to come into a home opener situation doubting the Chiefs because we don't have this or that. Like the Chargers had to play perfect for them to win, and they was balling the whole game. Like they did what they wanted to, and it still came down to the last play, to that Chris Jones play. Chris Jones get a sack, or Chris Jones keep him outside, and Drew Tranquil not missing tackles, and George Collapse just actually getting to the quarterback. It's a lot of what ifs, but for them to come down to the last play playing that poorly lets me know that we still have a championship team. We just gotta execute and make plays when it's time to make them.
Hey, Triz, I got a question for you.
Damn.
So you mentioned, oh, my fault, Trey. Just real quick, my fault. Okay, so like you mentioned how you need a big game from Travis Kelsey, right?
Yeah.
I feel like the Eagles they're gonna bring out some of those same looks from the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Because they was rolling coverage toward his side, man. Like They ran like whatever it was, cover six quarters, or they ran like cover one and a robber using the Cooper DeJean in that way. They used all
Yeah.
kinds of different stuff in that bowl. So I feel like Travis gonna get some of the looks again. So like, how do you get him open against some of those looks?
Well, and the thing in the Super Bowl was, and I don't think that the Chargers they did a good job. Tierra Tar had a good job. I think I don't think that the Eagles defensive line is that scary. I mean, I don't know
It's
what you
not the
guys
same.
were looking at. Like it's not the same as last year. Also, Mike Caliendo was committing war crimes out there. Like it was a lot of stuff wrong with that whole team last year. Then we had to move our All Pro guard to left tackle, so you really didn't have Joe Tooney playing like Joe Tooney because he had to play a different position. That's just to give them a up. That gives them an advantage right away, no matter who we playing. So with all those things considered and knowing that this team is not that same, I'm not saying they're not a good team or a good defense, but we're just going from what we've seen. We're a few CD drops and catches away from the Eagles being 0-1 and potentially getting their butts kicked on ring night. But CD Lamb decided to drop balls, and guys made mistakes. It happens, and
It
now the
really
Eagles
does.
are 1-0. So I mean, that's the difference between 0-1 and 1-0. Guys made the plays, we didn't. But I don't think that defense is the same. So they're gonna have to highlight Travis Kelsey, and they're gonna have to make it to. Hopefully Simmons holds his own over there, and Kingsley's a little better this week. I have no concern really about the right side of the offensive line outside of the penalties and Jawan Taylor. Hopefully he can be better this week, and I know he will be. So if he's doing his job, that right side of the offensive line, you won't see Carter over there. You'll see him on the left side. So let's put Kelsey on the left. Give them some short zone stuff. Let them read some windows. Get some guys over the top. If we can dominate a little bit on the line of scrimmage and give our guys a chance, I don't think that there's a linebacker that can cover Travis Kelsey. I don't care if they're double teaming him. They don't have the type of secondary where everybody acting like the Eagles are the monsters. I don't get it. I don't. Travis Kelsey can get 100 yards against the Eagles. How do we do that? Let's win up front. Give Pat some time. Make sure we're not calling BS. And Pat got to be better too. Like he can't put us in situations and throw pick sixes and stuff like that. Obviously, those things affect, but I think continue to make it to where he's doing his option route stuff. Get him out in coverage. Make him dictate the coverage. If we do that, like he always been able to do, control the middle of the field, and even if he's not getting the ball, he can still control the middle of the field. As long as he's doing that, we get him open on some of those option looks. He's one of the best like corner route tight ends and making space on those zone coverages I ever seen in my life. So I know Travis Kelsey still has ability to affect the game. We just got to give him time up front and let Andy Reid trust the guys to make plays. And I think it's not just Travis Kelsey, but again, hitting on the running game, getting to the sticks a little bit, getting the ball out your hands quicker, or get him something to think about. Then you start getting TK involved. He's going to be there to make plays, but he's going to get other guys open too. Hollywood Browns of the world, Juju's of the world. You might see a little bit more Brownlee this week. Like we just got to be more in depth into the situation that we in. We don't have to go 45 drop back every time. I'm not digging that. Like we use guys how we use guys, and I think the RPO looks and giving them run places. That's how we had run success last year. We were the number one run success team through football until we had to move Joe Tooney into the inside. I mean, to the outside.
Yeah,
So
looking back on it, I think we'd have been better suited playing somebody else at left tackle, Tooney at left guard, and
I
keeping a
agree.
tight end over there to chip.
I agree. I agree. So if we can do that, man, Travis Kelsey will have a day. He's had days against them. He had a Super Bowl against them. Did what he wanted to, dictated the coverage against a 70 sack team. So you mean to tell me that he can't go out here and cook against this team? I don't want to hear that, man. We got to get TK the ball. We got to get the tight ends involved. A lot of 11, 12, 13 personnel. Let's see if we can run the ball and get them out in space, and then we'll be able to spread out. Like, I don't think that Eagles defense is the same. No disrespect to Jalen Carter. I think he's a phenomenal player, but he's going to have to come off the left side. I don't think Trey Smith and Creed are having it this week. I just don't. Now, if they get their butts kicked, I'll come on Wednesday and I'll apologize like a man, but I just don't think those guys are built that way, and I think they're taking this game personally.
Yeah, I know we got to get we'll get traded here in a sec, but I got to hop off and get my kiddo to bed at school tonight. I got one hypothetical for you before I go. So if you could make one trade, would you do it? Either Jalen Moore for L'Jarius Sneed or the other right tackle for L'Jarius Sneed? Straight across, who says no?
I wouldn't do that because that means Kingsley is the guy moving
Yeah,
forward.
Richard, I
And
can't even hear you, bro.
Yeah.
I would say no. I think I would rather play Jalen Moore on the line than trade him away, personally.
Yeah, I think I go both ways. I think the last year proves you can't ever have enough O-line depth. We've ran into it twice in the Super Bowl. Not once, but twice. We have lost because of lack of O-line depth. But it's still also hard looking from the outside looking in, seeing a starter sit on the bench that you could trade for another starter when you've got players that probably would be on people's practice squad starting on the back end of your secondary.
I think the biggest thing is the cap situation is a little bit untenable right now. As of today, they have $2 million in cap space. That's it. And so
we saw somebody to be a bad guy.
to make more room, you're going to have to restructure Pat, or you're going to have to restructure guys, and they're going to have to be on board with that. So that's another thing is the reason why you haven't seen the Chiefs make moves, you see all these other guys make moves, is those teams have cap space. The Cowboys were bringing in Jadeveon Clowney today because they got $30+ million in cap space they can still throw around for this year to go bring guys in. Chiefs got $2 million and some change.
As great as Chiefs is at managing the cap, we are always right there on that edge, so we can't ever make the moves if we need to at the midway point of the season. Like, I'd like to see us either get those players to go over the top and be right up against the cap, or have some cap space saved up. So in a situation like last season when you're out of receivers and really depleted at quarterback, you have the money to make those moves. We're kind of leaving ourselves in a no-win situation with being this thin and no cap space.
I think, yeah, and they're using Pat's contract exactly how they wanted to use it. And that's whenever they need cap space, they'll restructure him, clear it up, and then they move, which is what I'm expecting. If they want to make moves by the trade deadline this year, that's what I'm expecting.
I don't think they can with Pat. I think we already converted a portion of it this offseason. I think you can only convert one time per season.
Then it may have to be somebody else then.
Yeah.
Because I thought that was strange that we only converted about half of what we could. I was like, why not just do the whole thing and then have a little bit extra money in case we need it? I think we only converted like half of what we could, but that also means we can't convert them the rest of the year.
I wish Jawan would give something to charity.
He'll give $20 million back at the end of the season.
Hey, that should be part of Kelsey. Kelsey injured a player. He needs to donate some money back to the fund some more player squad.
Yeah, that's unfortunately how that goes.
He's got that Taylor money now. He don't need no money.
Yeah, exactly. But
hey, it's good talking to y'all. I gotta hop off, get the kiddo in bed.
All right, thank you, Trey. Have a good rest of your evening.
All right, Corey.
So Trey, what do you got for us in terms of who you think who are your players that you want to see step up for this next game?
The number one person has to be the guy who was probably talking one the most, which is Charles. Like you sat over here and you said that you were worth every dime, and you feel like you gotten cheated, and you feel like you're not getting what you feel like you deserve, and you haven't yet to really show that. Like you didn't show that on Friday. I need to see more from you, especially because if you're gonna go after and go try and hit Jalen on his blind side, I suggest that you really get off that tackle. I think that he's got to be necessary. I think that just about everybody on the offensive line and whoever it is, we have to be disciplined. Like if we continuously stay behind the sticks, we're not going to be in a position where we can win. Like the thing about it is from the head coaching position all the way down to the offensive line, down to the running back, whatever the case may be. Like I already know what I'm going to get from Juju. Juju's going to be a guy who's going to be a big body receiver who's going to be able to have to win his matchup one-on-one against Reed Blankenship or whoever the fuck it is. He's got to do what he's got to do. Then you really have to depend on whoever is matched up with the Dory Jackson. Get off of his break good enough. He's 29. I'm not going to sit over here and play the age factor all day long, but if we're going to call it what it is, the issue is that you're going to have to not only give yourself an opportunity to catch the ball, but you got to give Mahomes a good outlet to where he can rely to you when the pocket starts to collapse. You're going to have to be able to do what you got to do. Uh, when it comes down to it, I think that again, you as a defensive line, it does not mean anything about getting pressures if you cannot get home. It is not about getting pressures, it's about being able to get home on those pressures. If you're not able to get home on these pressures, then you're just literally just making things easier for Jalen to say, okay, even though I'm rolling out to my right side, guess what? A wide receiver is going to follow me, and you're going to open up an opportunity for a big game. You're going to have to do that. I'm not really concerned about the run because we were able to stop the run again with Omarion Hampton. Omarion didn't do really shit against us. The thing about it is Saquon didn't do a lot against us in the Super Bowl. We're gonna have to be able to buckle down and say, our defenders got to keep them in front of them. Do not allow the deep ball. If you got to go into a too high shell, a cover three, whatever the case may be, do it. But you cannot try and put a lot on these linebackers to say you got to not only keep things in front of you, but also you got to account for what's behind you as well. Like, no, you're gonna have the DBs. Somebody's gonna have to step up, command the backside of this defense. I'm not gonna expect you to get a whole bunch of turnovers on Jalen Hurts, but give your offense an opportunity to win the game. If you can get a couple turnovers, go get a couple turnovers. Win the turnover battle. Win time of possession. Win the penalties. Because if you're going to give them easy, free yards, it's going to be a long night. We got to be able to take care of business. Because if we don't, the Eagles will more or less do whatever the hell they want to do. We have to do that. If we're not able to do that, we're not putting ourselves in a good position to win. Like, it doesn't matter what Pat does. Pat can go 30 for 35. And if he doesn't have an opportunity to win the game, if the defense is making him have to make this a shootout, I don't want a shootout because we don't have the weapons right now to be in a shootout. We have to be in a grind. We have to be in a grit and grind type of game. We have to be in a grind to where Philadelphia can barely move the ball. If we move the ball more effectively, we're able to average at least 2.5, 3 yards a carry, I'm good with it. But do not put yourself in this position to where you're one dimensional and Jalen Carter has to go through. All you got to do is go through the guard in the center, says to go and get a pressure. We're going to have to pick and choose our battles. Jahad Campbell, he's a linebacker that they're probably going to put that can help double off Trav. He's going to be a guy that they're going to be focused on. Jahad Campbell has been a guy that even like against Dallas, he showed flashes. Jalen Carter, we already know about him. We know about everybody else. It's these younger guys that they're plugging and playing and the guys that they are filling in for the guys that they departed with. We're going to have to pick and choose our battle. Right now, everybody's biggest question is Adoree Jackson. So that's probably their biggest Achilles heel in that defense. But we're going to have to take care of the business and we're going to have to stay in front of the sticks. If we're not disciplined, and we allow little stuff like a false start, illegal formations, offsides, encroachment, whatever the case may be, we're in for a very long night. It's not going to be easy taking down the Eagles. I think that the Eagles are a formidable team. I'm not going to sit over there and say that they're world beaters, but you can't sit over there and give all willy-nilly and say, we can give you about 60% effort. You're going to need at least 80 to 85 to take care of business. If we don't, it's going to be a long night for us. We have to take care of business. That's just straight, plain and simple. So if Jawan needs to be good, I think that Charles, you're going to have to get off of your blocks. George, you're going to have to do better about getting to where you need to do. Our D-line, it can't just be Chris Jones getting double teamed. If he's getting double teamed, everybody knows by process of elimination, somebody's got to win their one-on-one. If you can't win your one-on-one, that's a problem. You got to take care of business. I'm with Trizzy. You got to take care of business up front, but you also got to take care of business on the back end too. Because I'm not sleeping on Smitty. I'm not sleeping on A.J. Brown. I'm not sleeping. I'm not sleeping on Jahan Dotson. Jahan Dotson is looking better. Like, you're going to have to take care of business there. If Jalen Watson can't take care of business, you sub him out and you go get a different guy. If Shamari Connor can't do it, he's got to get subbed out. You got to find a different guy. Somebody has to come in and be ready to plug in and play. Straight in, point up.
Yeah,
And that's the scary part. That's the scary part because Devontae and AJ Brown they didn't really get much action this past game. I mean, the Cowboys clearly wasn't going to let them beat them on the perimeter. Like, we'll let you at the middle of the field, but you're not about to get anything out on the perimeter, out on the boundary or anything. So, yeah.
If we don't like this is I think we're one of the few teams that we're like, yeah, Saquon's a problem, but we're not sitting over here like, oh, we gotta stop Saquon. No, because we know that we have a good run defense. It's our pass defense. We gotta make sure that we're taking care of business on that pass defense. Because the one thing I'd be damned is if we get them into a 3rd and long and Jahan Dotson hits us for a 15, 20-yard game.
I don't think it'll happen this game. I think we'll be better. We don't have to be lights out. It's the second week. I don't think the Eagles are a formidable football team like y'all saying. I mean, they had mistakes too, and I think they were able to capitalize and make good off of what the Dallas didn't do well. They dropped a lot of passes from a guy like C.D. Lamb dropping those passes, by the way. So if you have to rely on that every week to win the game, I mean, how good can you really say you are? I don't think the Eagles are proud of what they put out there. Not saying that they're not a good football team, because they absolutely are with talent. So it's going to take a lot more than last week to get us over the hump. But my thing is, just like you said, it has to be a committee thing. It can't just be one guy. It can't just be a couple guys. We know Chris is going to get double teamed. We know certain situations are going to happen. We know that Smith is going to go deep. We know that they're going to try to attack our weaker guys. What you're saying, just being able to control the momentum up front on both sides of the ball is very important this week. We might have lost some receivers, but we didn't lose no O linemen. So we didn't lose no D linemen. Those guys just got to be in better situations to be able to succeed. So hopefully we can do that this week, and I'm sure they'll be looking forward to the challenge.
Yeah, that's why this week I'm looking at the coaches. The coachings, the game plans, the communication, having everybody on the same page, for me, is the most important thing about next week. I need to see that there was a concerted effort to look at what went wrong last week and correct it for this week, more so than any one player. If I had to highlight a guy on defense, George, you just got paid, my man. I'm going to need you to start paying it forward and showing me that you are not just a pressures guy.
Absolutely.
Because you've been one of the top leaders in pressures since you've been in the league, but it has not always translated to sacks. You just got paid like you're going to be up in that upper echelon. I need you to show that. On the offensive side, I got to see the tight ends used more. I need more Noah Gray. I need Robert Tonyan. I need Travis Kelce. I need all these guys. They all have to contribute. And that, again, goes to coaching. I need the coaching staff to present to me on the field a more balanced game plan. We cannot be one-dimensional. We can't panic. We can't sit here and act like we're 3 scores down when it's a 1-score game for a majority of the game. I need some cohesiveness out of the coaching staff is the biggest thing for me. Ultimately, am I going to say today on Wednesday that we're going to win the game on Sunday? Sure, I'd love to be able to say that, but they got to prove it to me on the field, because last week wasn't good enough. And if last week's what we put on the field on Sunday, we're going to lose the game. So I need
to the Eagles at home. I don't know what y'all talking about.
I don't, with the home opener, I want to say that yes, we're going to beat them in Arrowhead for the home opener in front of the fans, but we're not going to beat them looking like we looked on Friday. So that's the goal. Is I need to see from snap one that they're engaged, that there's a sense of urgency, and there's a commitment to a balanced game plan. On defense, I need to see communication. I need to see energy. I need to see guys flying around to the football. And just overall having a better sense of what is going on the field in front of you than what I saw on Friday. Either way, I think it's going to be a good game. I think you're going to see the best out of both teams because I think both teams did not put what they wanted out on the field. Clearly, the Eagles don't feel like that because they feel they needed to use A.J. Brown way more than one catch for 9 yards, even though it was the catch to ultimately ice the game for them. So I want to see us be prepared, and I think we're in for a great game. National TV spotlight. It's one of the primetime games that they've got pretty much going the rest of the season. So we will see if there is improvement, and hopefully there is across the board from the coaching staff as well. So Trey, Charles, appreciate you guys both for coming on. Y'all are welcome. Y'all are welcome anytime. Just hit us up whenever y'all want to come talk. Trizzy, appreciate you as always coming in, and to Corey for stopping in as well. Thank you guys for tuning in. It's Eagles week, baby. Super Bowl rematch. So we will see what happens.
Man, make sure y'all follow the good guys. Appreciate y'all tuning in, friends, family, everybody. Appreciate y'all for real. Make sure y'all get a page of follow at 142.2 The Kingdom. It's on YouTube, Spotify, X. We'll definitely have a recap of the game. Hopefully, we got some good highlights to talk about or some good things. But we appreciate y'all tapping in as always. And you already know, how about those Chiefs?
Make sure y'all follow Kingdom Cast, Tell the Truth, Red Shirt Podcast with Trey and DG. We got content coming all week from everywhere, folks. So make sure y'all tune in. Until next time, go Chiefs.
Chiefs, baby.